deal with? Boundaries you want to set?
Yeah, all that kind of stuff she just said. If this is your first time popping in and you are someone that, or you or someone you know who is affected by alcohol or drugs, this is a place where you're going to find support and you are going to find relapse prevention. You're going to learn how to deal with it if you are the non-addict, and you're going to learn how to deal with your addiction if you are an addict. And we go through books and studies accredited by psychiatrists and doctors. I myself am not a doctor or a psychiatrist, but I just use their literature and share my experience and my hope of what I've gone through 2 times in my life, hitting rock bottom with drugs and alcohol, and the outcomes of each, and the positive outcome and hope and for the future here in recovery. Right now, we're going through a book called The Steps We Took by Joe McQ. We are on chapter 8 and 9. This is the second part of looking at the freedom of steps 8 and 9, and I cannot help but look at the steps 8 and 9 without looking at them in conjunctions with steps 3 and 4. They just go hand in hand. 6 and 7 is a bridge between the two because you are completely asking God for help in removing the defects that you find inside yourself and what we've been living on and what has led us down that road to addiction. But it is Tuesday, May 19th. I went to my first in-person meeting at my aftercare at my IOP. So once I transitioned, every Tuesday night at 6:30 is when we were supposed to go face-to-face in front of the counselor as a group. Tonight, since the COVID whole thing, was the night we went back first and they are taking extra amazing precautions. You walk in, you have to sanitize, you have to wash, you get your temperature taken, you have to sanitize. Obviously, you have to be masked up. Nobody can be within, 6 feet of each other. Everybody's really spread out. And you got only a few people in the room and the rest of the people are on Zoom. But it was a blessing just to be face-to-face with my good friends and stuff and all that good kind of stuff. It was really nice. So I'm in a very, very good mood right now. Very positive mood.
Hello.
I had to back way up here so I can say hi to everybody. We got Dwight first thing in the chat, and then my mom and Marilyn. How's everybody doing? Jenny, David Miller, welcome back. Kat, I was on a Zoom meeting with you. So sorry I had to leave, but at 6:30 was when my IOP started. And that was really just getting good. So, Kat, tell me what you think. How did that first big book study go with Joe and Charlie, led by the Aussies out there in Australia? From what I could tell, that first 20 minutes that I was in it I didn't want to leave, to tell you the truth. I almost was like, let's just keep listening to this. Aaron and Emily, what's going on, ladies? Petey, what's up?
Hi,
and
Emily.
who else? Raina, hello.
Congratulations, 5 months.
Charlene, 5 months. Good job.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Aaron, I said that. Chad, what's going on, brother? How are you? We are doing amazing. We are doing amazing today. We got Alexis in the house. And Murk.
Welcome,
Master Murk. Good people.
Alicia,
Beautiful
hello.
people. Amen.
Beautiful
Glad you're
people, the
here.
beautiful
Can feel
people.
the energy in the house. Feels good tonight. Alicia.
Hey, Sky.
Alicia is in the house. That's awesome. Sky is in the
Mr.
house. Day 3. And we got Soupy up in the house. Right on, y'all. I'm really excited. I'm glad everybody's here. How's everybody doing today? How's everybody's recovery going on this Tuesday? How did their Tuesday fare? Did y'all deal with your character defects and everything else she's going through? Paulie in the house.
Hello, Paulie.
Just got off the phone with that guy. He says actions speak louder than words, and then hung up on me. Just kidding. Charlene's feeling great. And I feel great.
Marianne from Ireland. Welcome.
Where?
Right there. He was just on her.
Right there. Hey, what's going on? My
Welcome
dog's
back,
going to
Gina.
start barking, so I apologize right now. Welcome. Glad you're here. Welcome to the show. I'm sure you already know I'm an alcoholic addict, and we do this every night at 8 o'clock live to help people with relapse and relapse prevention and to help and support those who still suffer and want to come off drugs. Reach out to us any way you can through our private Facebook group. If you're not a member, please join. That's a place where we post a lot of the links. We do Zoom meetings at 3 o'clock on Saturdays. There's a new one that we do. If you're in the States, it's on Tuesday. For Australians, it was Wednesday morning. Ireland, I'm not sure when it would be, probably late at night, or I don't know. I'd have to figure that out. But anyway, the Zoom meeting was awesome today.
Hi, Mr. James. Mr. Sober James is in the house.
Sober James in the house. I worked and then did crafts in the back porch in the sun with my dog with me. Awesome.
That sounds
like
nice.
a beautiful day to do that. Where's James? I missed him.
Welcome, Josh. He was up like 2 or 3 comments.
Oh, there he is. What's up, brother? How are you doing today? Good to see you. Glad you're here. Super glad you're here. I went to my IOP today, face to face. So nice to see. Just to see my counselor too is like, ooh, the Jedi Master. Look, there he is.
He's so cool.
He's literally a Jedi Master when it comes to counseling, and I want to be just like the guy. I have a one-on-one with him Thursday at 4, so I'm going to be talking to him about some type of mentorship and just see where God takes it. He told me to pray. I begged him. I said, please hire me one day. And he said, you go and pray about it, and I'll do the same thing. We'll see where God takes it. And that was months ago. That was before COVID took off. But we'll see where it goes.
11 days, Murd.
Oh, yeah. Everybody hit that like button for Murd. 11 for Murd. And 3. So 11 plus 3 would be 14 for Sky. Let's give Sky her 3 likes. That's what I'm talking about.
Boop, boop.
Heck yeah. Man, it feels good to be with you guys tonight. Feels good to be in recovery, doesn't it? Knowing that the rest of your life you're going to live in positive and you're going to learn how to live on life with life's terms, no matter what's thrown at you. It doesn't matter. Resentments, we're done with those. And we're not going to make resentments anymore because we know how to avoid them. And so we're going to talk about freedom, the freedom of steps 8 and 9. And I like where James was headed with his stream, the freedom and grace, because that is huge. Giving people grace. Unmerited favor? Really? I didn't deserve that, but yet you're going to be that nice to me? Thank you. Thank you. Know what I'm saying?
When does the mug arrive? Asked Josh.
Who did?
Josh.
Is my mug arrived?
He said, when does the mug arrive?
I don't know. Ask James. I mailed my stuff to James today. So he, according to the receipt, he's going to get his stuff Friday.
Oh, I saw that Jake's mom passed away, Petey.
Yeah, we've been praying for Jake. I saw that in the thing too. So we were definitely having Jake on our prayer list. I said a prayer for you. Actually, 2 times I stopped. I was actually in my IOP and I was thinking, and we were kind of in a lull moment. I'm like, man, there's somebody I need to pray for. And I was like, oh yeah, Jake. Say a little prayer for you, man.
Say a little prayer.
I try to pray without
you.
ceasing, like the Bible tells us to. So May 19th, AA's thought of the day is fellowship is a big part of staying sober. The doctors call it group therapy. We never go to an AA meeting without taking something out of it. Sometimes we don't feel like going to a meeting and we think of excuses for not going, but we usually end up by going anyway. And we always get some lift out of every meeting. Meetings are part of keeping sober. And we get more out of a meeting if we try to contribute something to it. Here's the question. Am I contributing my share at the meetings? And that, I don't know, when I think about that, that doesn't mean you have to be the 10-minute speaker and telling your life story to, you could be the guy at the door just welcoming people. You could be the guy that sits late after 15 minutes late and has a conversation with the quiet one in the back that you see maybe has a hurting heart and it just shows on their face. And the cliches, you could have made the coffee, which is a good thing. You could help set up chairs. You could run a broom. Just run a broom around the place afterward. Just, anything positive to help. And Tommy, the America's greatest sponsor, he said to me, what did he say that day? Oh, yeah. He goes, we used to just take and take and take. You go to a party, you end up being the drunkest one there, and you took all the fun out of the place. People are afraid of you. If you didn't fall down and break stuff, you didn't contribute anything to that party. He goes, now you go to a barbecue and there's no drinking. We're not putting ourselves in high-risk situations, obviously. But do something. You go up to the host and say, hey, can I take out the trash for you? Or just take out the trash if you know them like that. Help clean up a little bit. Just do something to contribute. And I think that's where this is heading. So the question, am I contributing my share at the meeting? So the meditation of the day is, he brought me up out of the horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock and established my goings. The first part, he brought me up out of a horrible pit, means that by turning to God and putting my problems in his hands, I am able to overcome my sins and temptations. He set my feet upon a rock, means that when I trust God in all things, I have true security. He established my goings, means that if I honestly try to live the way God wants me to, I will have God's guidance in my daily living. And here's our prayer. I pray that my feet may be set upon a rock. I pray that I may rely on God to guide my comings and goings. Amen.
Amen.
That's some good stuff right there. That is some good stuff right there.
Pretty good.
Where are we at?
Oh, welcome, Alan.
Alan, welcome, brother. Glad you're here. So spent the majority of the day attempting to train my new recovery dog. Oh, cool. He's an 8-week-old pit lab mix named Buddy. Right on. Where's our recovery dog? Is she in the house?
No, I think she went outside to bark at Millie.
We got us a big old German Shepherd. At night, shed a tear when I see LT holding them. I can't wait, brother. I'm telling you, I'm either going to drink out of it. Maybe I'll have to put a poll on the Facebook group. Do I use James's mug as my new tea mug that I have here and swap it out? Or do I have James's mug with a printout of James's mug sticking out of the top of it? So it'd be like James's mug inside of James's mug.
Mug in a mug.
That would be awesome. That would be fun. And I think that's what I'll do. I don't know. I'll put a poll on Facebook. We'll see where this goes.
Let's see.
He started his IOP tonight and was supposed to.
That's right.
And with him not being here, he has probably went, hopefully.
Yeah, I think so.
Of course. And you guys, we have Sober Batman about to join the stream. Sober Batman is in the house.
I did a lot of smoking back in the day. That's why my voice is like this.
No, we don't need to do that.
She loves it. She's excited about her eyebrow.
That's why Batman sounds like that. He smoked too much. That could be from whiskey and cigarettes. Yeah, stinking Batman was an alcoholic addict. We knew it. We knew it the whole time.
Bruce.
Where else? What else we got?
Welcome, Michael Teeter.
Teeter in the house, brother. How are you doing? I talked to you a little bit today. You back in the saddle of strength and feeling good today? Right before work. I know you probably got to go to work tonight. How you feeling, brother? I love that video where you talk about closing the bag. Oh, thanks, Liz. Are you new face in town?
She is.
Oh, awesome. Well, thanks for watching that. That makes me feel good. I'm glad you like it. You got to close those back doors, man. If we leave a back door open, we're doomed. That, you know, back doors. Think about back doors. That's leaving a phone number in your contacts that nobody knows is there but you, and you could go and slip away and give it a call and you know, pick up some drugs without anybody knowing. That's not telling the doctor what you need to tell the doctor, so you're not getting the medicines that you don't need. That's, you know, that's a buddy. That's not having a plan for a buddy that shows up over here and brings a 12-pack because he doesn't know you're in recovery. You got to close those back doors. Thanks, Liz, for bringing that up. It's a good topic, and I hope everybody is doing just that, closing our back doors.
Make a mug and a mug.
A vote for a mug. A vote for me is a mug and a mug. Okay. Raina.
Twins.
That's funny.
Sober Batman.
I love it.
Oh my gosh.
Nice link.
Thanks, Emily.
I got a line.
Oh, he's got another line for us.
Drugs are bad for you.
Make black out of the mug. How are you, Link?
Doing good. How are you?
Hey, Mo.
Hi, Mo.
Sober Batman.
So always remember, recovery's like a shark in the ocean, always moving forward, never back. Yeah, sharks stop moving, they die. That's right. Makes sense. Batman does resentment for the Joker. Dang it. Yeah, he's got
the bat bar.
He's definitely got some resentments to overcome. Batman has not done step 4.
No.
Joker would probably be on the top of his list, followed by the Penguin and then, you know, the Riddler and all the way down. Hey, Timothy Melton, how are you, sir? Good to see you. Glad you're here.
Welcome.
Susan Young. That's
Hey,
a new
Susan.
face, maybe. Hey, Susan. Nice shirt.
I think I've seen
Army.
Susan.
Right on. Have you seen
Jennifer.
Susan before? Jennifer's back in the house. Right on. Good to see you, Jennifer.
Welcome.
You chaired a meeting at 4:30 today. Yes. Did you take a topic, Petey? Remember my suggestion? Anything I say on this channel is just a suggestion. You do what you want to do.
Hi, Jenny.
I just wanted to
Glad
pop
you
in and
popped
say hi. Glad to see you, Jenny. I'm glad you've been talking to Teeter as well.
Temper tantrum.
Good. Kat, that was cool seeing you face to face today. Served 12 years. Oh, thank you for your service. Right on.
Thank you for
Good
the
job.
service.
Right arm. That is really good stuff right there. All right. So our topic today is steps 8 and 9 out of the big book. Right now, we're going through this book called The 12 Steps We Took. We're currently on part 2 of steps 8 and 9. And I can't help but see the freedom. This is where we're becoming free. In steps 3 and 4, we're making a decision. And then 4, we get into action and we get down into the nitty gritty. We look at the dirt of the stuff that we did, right? We're telling our war stories because those war stories caused resentments between us and somebody else. But then in step 4, we take a little deeper dive. We look through and past that story and get into the exact nature, the root cause, because the root cause of that resentment was something deep inside us, our character defect. And then 8 and 9, we become willing to make amends because we back up just a little bit with that extra knowledge of the exact nature. So we look at the guilt and shame behind it and the fears and look at the story of what we did in that wrong and the hurt that we caused. And then that's when we become willing to make amends, and we make those amends, getting rid of the rest. So in step 4, we're getting rid of the resentments. And in step 8 and 9, we're getting rid of the shame and guilt behind it. So we're just boom, boom, because when you're in your resentment and you're letting your mind wander over the person that you resent, that person has control of you. When you are ashamed and feel horrible about the things that you've done to another human being, and without making amends, that person still claims a piece of your freedom. And by getting rid of the resentments, by making amends and getting back into peace and community with somebody, you are now free, and God is now free. Your higher power of your choosing to use you in this world, free of resentments, fears, and guilt, shame, and all the stuff that our addictions brought to us. Oh, I got to look up that prayer. I wanted to read the 8th step prayer because there's always a prayer to go with them, and this book suggests reading it.
Nice.
Step 8 prayer. If I ask your help in making my list of those I have harmed by forgiving to others as you are forgiving me. Grant me the willingness to begin my restitution. This I pray. Amen. That's good stuff. All right. So that's it. The first part of step 8 should be completed when you have done the inventory. So a lot of people, we talked about this yesterday. Do you burn step 4? Do you keep step 4? Because the resentments you list and all the people that you harmed are in that list as well. So you can actually piggyback off step 4 and have a head start on step 8. A lot of people ceremonially burn step 4, and a lot of people keep it and use it for step 8. And I've heard both, and I don't think either one is wrong. I personally shredded mine in a paper shredder because it was suggested by my counselor, and my counselor tells me to jump. I say how high these days because doing my own will and living on my ego got me nowhere. And the willingness, so we become willing, right? The first thing we do is we pray for the willingness until it comes. We must become willing to do this. And if we are not willing, that's when you pray this prayer until you become willing, because the willingness is the first step to freedom. And a lot of times when you just become willing, like if I get a chance to say sorry to this person, I'm willing to do so, is just a breath of fresh air in itself. So the first step is becoming willingness, and that is what frees us. Even if making the amends we need to make would injure someone and we can't actually make them, when we become willing, we are freed from the guilt and the remorse that have kept us back. We have to be sure and get this point across. We are doing this for ourselves. Okay. And this is not the benefit that it's going to bring to the person we are making amends to. We are trying to remove the things that block us from God. We take these steps for our own recovery. We are not considering what they may do for others. This is not the purpose of steps 8 and 9. This is for ourselves and our own recovery, because we must become free from resentment, guilt, shame, and fear if we are going to move on in this life better. Because if we continue in self-condemnation, we continue in self-doubt and just destroying ourselves over what we did in the past, that's God. Grant me the serenity for the things I cannot control, right? In the past, it's done. Dang it. We chiseled all that crap in stone. It's done. There's nothing you can go back and to do and erase it. So continually mulling it over in your mind and living there is not going to is not going to get you anywhere at all.
Something to add?
Hi, John.
You're always going to have that one burden in your heart.
Yep. There's a burden, and it's in there.
Welcome.
What's up, John? And the wife, Tracy. How's everybody doing from the Sober House? Or Sawyer House and Anchored Hearts. I saw some awesome pictures on Facebook today, you guys. Day 3 and 4, I hope, for a lot of you.
Hope so. That's the topic PD used.
So once we get this list and we become willing, what did he give? What was his topic?
Giving without strings.
Giving without strings. Ooh, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
A lot of people do have a hidden motive, and you can tell the hidden motive, even if they proclaim, I'm giving this to you and I'm doing it out of a sincere heart, and I have no strings attached. And that person just grabs it and goes, huh, and walks off and doesn't give that person a thank you. And that person's offended. There's still that little, why didn't he thank me? You know, I mean, it gets deep. It gets deep. That's a good subject.
Hi,
Aubrey. Hey, you did a good job,
Jerry.
brother. Jerry, what's up, man? Aubrey, you did a really good job today. I'm sorry I had to leave 30 minutes in, but I had my IOP. First one face-to-face since this whole thing started. But half an hour I heard, I did not want to hang up the phone, man. It was tough. Next Tuesday, we'll see where it goes. Unfortunately, I have that Tuesday at 6:30. I didn't. When you were casting it out, we'll talk about it later. But but you did a great job. That was what I'm getting at there. Okay, so once you become willing, that's the first step, right? You're praying for this willingness, and you got to become willing. And once you become willing, you get this list, and you become willing to make amends. Then we can go into step 9. And until you're fully willing, it's telling us here, just don't step into step 9 quite yet, because you're going to do it half-heartedly. You're not going to give a full, true amends to that person. You're not going to really feel it, you know, and really free yourself. And it's about freedom. Remember, we're doing this for ourselves. The big book has dealt extensively with step 9, because there is a lot of things that can come up in the chapter entitled Into Action. A number of specific situations are given as examples, and that's beginning on the page 76 and continuing for several pages. And that this guy, Joe McQ, says that this chapter is worth a close study. So if you guys have your big books, that could be your homework for this week, is to go to page 66 and about 3 more pages and give it a good meditated read over and chew on it and think about it. Step 9 tells us to make direct amends. And I labeled this paragraph, I can't even read my handwriting. So I'll just read it and I'll figure it out later. So what are direct amends? What does that mean? That's the question of this. Thank you, Sober James. We are keeping it up. Direct amends are face-to-face amends. Face-to-face. Face-to-face amends with a person that you've harmed. You got to realize we've harmed people, and it's a face-to-face harm. Later on in the big book, it says you can write a letter to a person you've harmed, but the first example is going to see a man in his office, and we are told not to discuss his problems, but to discuss the reason we come. So, no small talk. That's what I put up there. So when you walk up to a person, you're going to make amends. You don't jibber jabber for a half an hour and kind of dodge the subject. You go there with purpose and meaning. You walk up to that person and say, hello, how are you? Good. Okay. This is why I'm here. I'm here to make amends with you because of whatever, right? We are told not to discuss his problems, but to discuss the reason we've come. And if we are thrown out of his office, we are not to consider our mission a failure, because his response is not the primary thing. The most important thing is that we have become willing, and that willing to have attempted to make the amends. You will get more relief from the guilt and remorse in a face-to-face making the amends than you will from writing a letter, or even from making amends on the telephone. So face-to-face priority, telephone 2, writing a letter 3. Okay. And that's only if you have to, and then you cannot, you must, just like you did drugs and alcohol, all that effort you put in and wherever whatever crime you would commit to do your drugs, put that energy into finding somebody face to face and making amends. And you're going to become more courageous doing it, because it's a scary thing to go up to somebody. I told you guys my story of the $800 coat I stole from a guy when I was out there in the streets on the run, and then ended up in the same jail cell, not the same jail cell, the same block, the same pod as him. And I knew it was him, and I was terrified for a month until finally God told me, go tell that guy you're sorry. The dude stood, a foot taller than me. He was all prison yoked out. I was this skinny, frail, fragile, 160-pound, 5'8" tweaker. And I went and I told him sorry. Scariest thing I ever did. As soon as I said sorry, I closed my eyes. My knees shook. I was waiting to get punched. And instead he put his big old paw on my shoulder and said, respect, brother. And the rest of my time in that pod, I had peace. I was freed from my fear of this guy because of the harm I caused him by stealing his jacket, and I sold it for meth. Probably a teener or something.
Something that stuck out to me in that paragraph was take your recovery twice as hard as you took your drugs.
Yeah, work your recovery harder than you worked your addiction. That's a good goal. And about mailing a letter. There's a joke here. It says, I heard a guy who asked his sponsor if he could make his amends by mail. And his sponsor is supposed to have said, sure, if you were not harmed by the mail. Because you have to make amends to those, if possible, unless it harms them, right?
Oh my gosh.
So basically, if you can fit in a box and mail yourself there and not get hurt, sure, use the mail because it's face to face.
Done.
It's probably cheaper than driving.
Yeah, I'd try.
Reminds me of all the Garfield cartoons.
So step 9 tells us to make direct amends. And then it tells us wherever possible. And a lot of people think it says whenever possible, but that's not true. It says whenever. And Joe says that he thinks this is the spirituality in this step. It's God working in this phase of our lives. We don't have to worry about all these amends. And this is kind of the freeing part and the stress reliever of steps 8 and 9. A lot of people have a real tough time with step 4 and then going and reading that step 4 to another person, right? And it's scary. I did it. I teared up in front of a guy in his office and it was weird, but I did it. And now I've grown from it and I got free of all those resentments. Now in steps 8 and 9, you're back to another action step. You've become willing. And now in 9, you're taking actions to go and speak to somebody that you're scared to talk to. And so now anxiety builds up. And then you look down and you have a list of them. And you're like, oh my goodness. And a lot of people feel like, let's go get her done. And you're like, hey, Monday morning, I'm going to wake up and drive, and that's my all day mission. And it's not that. Okay. You let God work in his timing to make these amends.
Is it whenever or wherever?
Wherever.
Wherever
Possible. The sooner the better. And you don't put it off. You actively pursue unanxiously. Okay. And you're gonna get anxious as soon as you get near the person you're gonna say sorry to. It doesn't matter if it's your wife or your kids. It's gonna happen. You're gonna be nervous and scared, emotions and all that good stuff. But God knows when we are ready, and he will give us, or he will help us get the opportunity to make the amends we are willing to make in good time. Again, the key to this thing is being willing. If we are willing, we can wait till God's time. So you should be actively pursuing making amends, but you don't need to be rushing making amends. Thinking about it, making your list, going through your list, you're checking it twice, and the rest of your life, you're going to cause harm, and make amends. You're going to learn how to do it. And then other people are going to come across you that you need to make amends to. So your list almost never goes away. I mean, depending on how deep down and how far you got into your addiction and causing harms and all that kind of stuff. So he says, I think a mistake many people make is thinking that step 9 is like step 1, because step 1 must be made 100%. Remember we talked about that? When you start the steps, know the fact that step 1 has to be worked with all your might, and you have to do a good 100% work on step 1. Step 1 is going to give you all the proof and evidence you need that you're powerless and your life is unmanageable, and you work it perfectly. And steps 2 through 12, the first time through, you don't have to do them as perfect because you're not going to understand them as deeply. You're still within probably a year, and it shouldn't take you more than a year to get through the 12 steps after you've decided to start them whenever you do. But your head's still going to be going, you could be going through post-acute withdrawal syndrome. Your life is busy. And so the first time through, you don't have to work it. And this is the same with step 9. But if we try to make a whole list of the people we have harmed and we try to run out the door and make amends that same day, we are usually going to make a lot of problems for ourselves and for other people too. But of course, we want to get the relief that comes from getting these things cleared up. But the key to 8 and 9 is being willing. Got to be willing. What's Aubrey say? Phase in our lives, 12 promises start to come true. I'd experienced all of them, and it was awesome. What was the next one? He said, when opportunity arises, and that's an indication, it's time. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Hi, Sherry.
Sherry, what's up?
What's
Welcome.
up, Brittany?
It's nice seeing you today. Brittany, too. I'm going through this blind. Why? What do you mean by that, brother? John? Why do you mean you're going through this blind? I just like believing in the amends to go forth to a longer period of recovery. Timothy Melton.
Murk wants to know if we got a sponsor, John.
John, you got a sponsor, bro? Good question, Murk. And so you can kind of prioritize these amends you're going to make. Start with the easiest, then put the hardest last. And it tells you to make a list. So there are a lot of people who can go right away. Our parents, for instance, they're usually fairly easy to make amends to because they love us and they will often go the extra mile for us. You will most likely be surprised at how few months of recovery in life will bring about a different understanding in the people we have hurt. So what that's saying is start with the people closest to you first, because if they see you go through sobriety, like if I would have just quit drinking this weekend and then Monday I tried to apologize to her, she's not going to take it as well as if I wait another month or even right now. She'll like, wow, it's a little more sincere. I understand where you're coming from. I've seen the work you've been putting in, and I know you understand the depth of your amend you're making now because we've taken the time and we've let God do it on his timing. Mm-hmm. And so the ones closest to you, seeing you put in the work in your recovery, it's gaining back that trust, because we've hurt a lot of trust. And we are trying to rebuild a lot of people after 10 months of sobriety. And I heard this said at my IOP, and it was hilarious. He goes, I've been clean 10 months and I expect everybody to throw me a parade, but everybody's still half, eggshell, walking on eggshell around you a little bit. Is we going to go back to normal? If you've been an alcoholic or an addict for 10 years and you've conditioned somebody to walk on eggshells for, gradually over the 10 years, what do you think it's going to take to get that undone? It's another gradual process in the opposite direction.
Mike's got a quick question.
Link does?
Mike.
Oh. So if you have people you dislike and don't care about, do you apologize to them or just the ones you care about? You make amends to anyone that you need to make amends to, unless it causes harm to them. Is it something you feel guilt and shame over? Well, I don't know. If you don't like them, I don't know if you believe in the Bible. The Bible says love your enemy. Love your neighbor. It's the whole good golden rule of things. And if you're in enslavement and it's principles over personalities. It's doing the right thing, And if you've done something that you need to apologize, regardless if you like that person, and the top of my list for that exact question is my ex, and she's going to be on the border of I may not and never category. We'll get into the 4 categories right here as we start walking through that question.
May I add something?
What?
Men's reminds me of My Name's Earl.
Okay.
Why?
Because he has a list of people he has to.
Oh yeah, that's the whole
My Name is
purpose of
Earl.
that show.
That's a great show. That show's hilarious.
Yeah, you should watch it. Okay. Day 3, Brittany. Keep going.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
true.
exactly what Murk just said.
Whatever you need to let go of.
Remember, we're doing it for us. We're not doing it for the benefit of the other person. But it sounds like if you don't like that person, there's some resentment you got to work through. And maybe you need to do a step 3 and 4 as far as the inventory goes and work through that resentment and look at the exact nature of your wrong and kind of dive and take a deep look at yourself. And then you can move on to the 8 and 9. Maybe you're getting ahead of yourself with that question as you're growing. You're 60 days in, just, you know, we're all young and learning recovery here. So they may know we have been making excuses for ourselves all our lives, but after they see us in recovery for a little while, they're probably going to be more receptive. The timing will be better. And remember, if we are willing, God will take care of the whatever's possible. So to make amends, to make a beginning on the amends, we can divide them up into 4 lists. So if you have a pen, you have a paper, and you're thinking about steps 8 and 9 right now, one of the lists that you should, the chart you should make right now is just write down at the, however you want to do it. You can do it top to bottom, but just write down now. And there's people you can do. You can make amends to later. And then the next one would be, I may not be able to, or I may be able to. And then there's the list of, I'll never be able to make amends to this person.
It's never like they died.
That's one thing. That's one of them.
You moved across the country.
But as you read what 9 says, it says, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Not yourself. You're not worried about your own injuries
That
here.
could be a never.
Yep, that's never. So the first group is now, second group is later, third group, I may and may not, and the fourth group is never. So first, we do the easiest ones in the first column. When we get the relief and satisfaction from doing them, we will probably go to work on the laters, then on some of the maybes, and then probably we'll even get to some of those in the fourth column, the nevers, because the nevers could turn into maybes and could turn into nows. So you never know.
What's not true, Alicia? Something's not true. I don't know what it is.
Maybe what Paulie said,
Maybe.
or maybe what Michael said. It truly doesn't matter what another person says to me or how he or she says it. What truly matters is how I take it and react. Amen. That's understanding recovery right there. That's good.
Oh.
If it's going to harm or injure me, I'm not going in. Well, I mean, physically, yeah, I mean, obviously. But the whole point is a lot of people will use that excuse, oh, it's going to hurt my feelings. Or obviously, if you're going to get physically hurt, obviously, you're not going to do that. Except when to do so would injure them or others. And it doesn't talk about us there. We are not them and we are not others. That's just the intensity behind that 9th step. But if you're going to walk into a war zone, let's make amends and get beat
Then
up or something.
It's
yeah.
probably not the time yet.
Yes, God's timing. You let God's timing work that out. And you might be rushing it if it's going to hurt you.
Hey, Marcus.
Evening, Marcus.
You know what I like? You guys are taking your time going through the comments and studying each comment.
Yeah, we love our crowd.
Oh, there's Aubrey's thing of never.
Never dead people. People you cannot contact. And people that do not want to see you. You know?
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's the guy. That's that example out of the big book. He goes in, gets kicked out of the office. That's I tried. Whoops. And you became willing at step 8 before 9. And you are free of your guilt and shame. You freed yourself at that point. So what the system does by working through those 4 columns is it allows you to place a start. A lot of people having difficulty in their lives have such a negative viewpoint that they'll take the 2 or 3 names they cannot face and let these stop them from even beginning the process. But instead, we turn it around. We start the easy ones first and leave those we feel we can't face until last. Remember, we never get the results of the steps until we take it. But once we start making amends to those people on our now list, and we receive what we are going to get from doing it, it will encourage us to go on. The key thing is the starting point. And sometimes the great, big, difficult ones will block us from starting. But how many, I mean, if we just really honestly look at all the people we have to make amends to, how many are in the never category because you are actually going to physically be harmed? I guarantee there are some for some people, but to me, I could probably say I'm sorry to 95%, and the other 5% are because they've perished or I cannot get a hold of them. I don't think there's a person I would probably get thrown away or thrown out or get away from me kind of a thing, but I don't think that I would ever be, my physical body would be harmed by trying to apologize to somebody.
You're getting 86.
86.
Aubrey says, I understand, Lish. That is not amends you have to make. It is resentment you have to work out. Exactly.
Exactly, Aubrey. Absolutely.
I had an ex who stalked me for quite some time. That would be a never, I would assume.
Yeah, that's scary stuff. You don't want to try to do that.
Mm-mm.
This is freeing ourselves from our guilt and our shame. So you take, I should have took a picture of it. And if you have this book, Kat, I know Kat has it. I don't know who anybody else does, but in between pages 109 and 112, there's another thing to fill out, another deal with columns, right? You write down, whom did I hurt? What did I do? And then how it affected. And then in the fourth column, it talks about the exact nature of the wrongs and mistakes again. So in that instance, Kat, what did you do to hurt him? And you understand that, and you become willing to make amends to him whenever or wherever possible. And by you having an ex that could be that crazy stalker person, that wherever may not ever happen. And you work it out with God. And God may change his heart 10 years down the road to where you could actually approach him peacefully and make those amends. And he may be in a position where he makes amends with you. And you guys 10 years from now clear up a relationship. And I'm not saying you get back together or nothing, but you are at peace with each other. Because that's kind of what I see happening with my ex. Maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, maybe 70 years down the road.
Oh my gosh.
We may be at peace one day.
I feel like you have to work step 4 again.
I
on
got to
that
go
one.
back to step 4, guys.
Cody in the house.
Cody. Man, it's good to see that
Night,
face and
Charlene.
name. Cody. Everybody hit that like button for Cody.
Stop the show. Cody's here.
Stop the show, everybody. Cody's here. That's awesome. Glad you're here, brother. Really glad you're here. Been thinking about you a lot. We were watching Sober James's channel, and he's got his new little slideshow that he plays over on the right-hand side of his screen. And we keep seeing your face and the fire trucks. And so you're always constantly in my thoughts and in my prayers.
Ooh, as I've seen on other YouTuber channels, 3-second like challenge.
Oh, yeah.
You should do it?
Nah. Yeah, I got 70 years.
Work understands. Everybody's glad to see you, Cody. It's been a while.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell
Murk,
the
what's
wifey
up,
we
Murk?
say hi. Hi, Misty.
Sweet. All right, where the heck are we? So we never get the results of the steps unless we take them. So if you have a bunch of frustration, fear, and anxiety built up, start with the easiest one first. The easiest one, whatever the top of your list, like, oh, that one's not too bad. Just go give
See
it
you
a
later,
try.
Mike. Have a good
Teeter,
night at
you
work.
have a great night at work, brother.
We love you.
Amen. But once we start making amends to those people on our now list, we will receive what we are going to get from doing it, and it will encourage us to go on.
Is Jerrick a new face?
And then the
Sure.
rest of them, this is kind of what we were kind of getting ahead of ourselves in the book or before the book. But so we have to let God take care of the timing. And this is kind of what we've been talking about. Some people make the mistake of running out and trying to do it all right away. And some people won't do any of it. I think there are some amends we can make right away. And the idea is to sort those out and make a beginning. The big book goes on to tell us that we can't make amends that are going to hurt other people. There's an example of a man who needed to make amends, which would implicate other people. So he went to them and he got their permission, and then they allowed him to go make the amends. And that's on page 80 in the big book. But there are some amends we can't make because of the potential harm to other people. In these cases, we will just have to live with it. But I don't think these will be very painful because the willingness we feel will give us a lot of relief. And later on, the situation might change so that it will no longer harm someone else. And then it goes on our list of amends to be made.
That's good.
So basically what I got out of that is you start with the easy ones. You start the step. It's action. You got to take action in this. And you don't get the benefit of the step if you don't work it. You start with the easiest one, but you're always looking to make amends. Always looking for the opportunity to make amends. And you just you give it to your higher power. You don't anxiously, like, I need to get this over with. Become willing. By being willing, you're free. And then ask God open up the opportunities, even with the hardest one on your list. And that way you're praying for positivity for the person you hurt that you have the most beef with. You know what I mean?
Good night,
Hi,
Michael.
Colin and Jerrick. Sherry says,
Jerrick, what's up, brother?
first one I made amends to, I was nervous and scared and did not know how it would go down. But then you have a relief. It gets easier as you go.
Oh, it gets easier as you go.
Thanks for the encouragement there, Sherry.
That is very encouraging.
Bravo, says Aubrey.
Bravo, Sherry.
Bravo.
I can so hear Aubrey's voice. Before I forget, let's listen to Cassie.
Oh,
Yes.
Hello, my recovering addict family. I'm here today with your motivational quote. Life is like a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. Mr. Albert Einstein. As always, guys, you know what to do. Every day, let's continue to spread that love.
Thanks
I
for
like that.
spreading the love.
Keep your
Cassie.
balance. You have to keep moving. Like when you ride a bike. You stop riding a bike, you tip over. It's kind of like recovery.
Unless you have great core strength. Hey,
That was a
Tim.
good one.
That was a good one.
You got to continue moving through recovery or you're going to lose your balance. Wow, that's so recovery related. Thank you, Cassie. That was a great one.
Cassie coming up with the Einstein knowledge.
So the steps are, we need to be careful, and a new person really needs a sponsor to help make the right judgment. So all our questions, the questions I still have about 8 and 9, because I'm not there yet. I'm on step 7, and I should be reading my step 7 next Tuesday, God willing. And then I go to 8, and then I start making my list, and I start really thinking, and I start chumming through my thing, and I become willing. I become willing to, and I'll be free. And then in 9, you make the easy ones. You're smart. You know, you make the judgment call. But when you get to those difficult ones, that's where you rely and lean on your sponsor. Hey, sponsor, somebody that's been there, somebody that's done it. You know, and if your sponsor hasn't done 8 and 9, but it's somebody that's been able to sponsor you thus far, find another person. Get a second opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. Reach out to people in the group who have done it. Aubrey, he's done it. He's a good guy. If you just, hey, this is kind of this is kind of the story in a nutshell type situation here. What do you think? And let them give you your 2 cents and then use that and go ask somebody else. What do you think? And then make your best call after that, you know. But new people, me included, got to have a sponsor.
Hi, Joe. Love you.
Hey, Joe. What's up, brother? So we're going to be working on some of these things for the rest of our lives. Most people have some things in their past they will have to always live with. The burdens can even be beneficial because they can make us treasure the new relationships we make as we recover and bring people back into our lives. So our past is our best teacher, right? History is our best teacher. We look at the harm done. And as we start bringing new people we meet, we cherish those relationships, and they're more valuable to us because we understand what it means to ruin and wreck relationships. And the people we bring back into our life through making amends, we should, because of our past and understanding now, we should have a better more protective, more valuable relationship in the fact that we don't want to ruin it. Thank you, son.
Joe's got a sponsor.
Joe's got a sponsor. That's good.
Good tea.
I was at a Bible study just to say, here we are clean and sober today. Amen. All right. Hey, Shauna, what were you studying in the Bible? What was the Bible study topic? What was the chapter verse? Just give me the chapter verse. Let me know. There are several reasons that may keep amends from falling into the wherever possible category. Some people are dead. We don't know where some people are. And some people we owe money. We owe money to some people. And we simply don't have the money. So regarding the money, Bill tells us to make arrangements to pay when we can't pay immediately. So try to pay. There were some amends I was never able to make, Joe says, and I had some guilt and remorse about them. Then I began to find that I could talk about them to people I was working with, and I realized that I was free. These were things I once couldn't talk about. And then I realized I was talking freely with people about them without guilt and shame. So another thing about guilt, shame, and fear when you've hurt and harmed others is you don't want other people to know what you did to somebody else to make that harm. It's a survival method. You don't want somebody to think bad about you. You don't want to be judged. But once you become willing to make amends, once you've seen the exact nature of your wrong and how you want to change and better yourself, and you're working with your sponsor, a counselor, a group therapy, and you're actually talking about it, and you're freeing yourself just by being willing and the fact that you can talk about what you're going through.
Murk said something that almost triggered me.
What?
He wanted a dab of cream.
Dab?
A dabble of
Dabble
cream.
Oh, you triggered Link with dab.
I've been triggered.
How does Link know all these drug terms?
I don't know.
I feel like a really great parent right now. Oh, good night, Alicia.
Alicia, have a good night. Thanks for being here.
Love you.
Aubrey loves your flash suit.
Probably wear it tomorrow.
It's a little tight.
So step 8, make a list of all the people we have harmed. Number 2, become willing to make amends to the people on that list. Step 9, make direct amends to all people on the list, with the exception of those people in items 4 and 5. Remove those from the list to whom it is impossible to make amends, and then remove those from the list for whom amends would produce injury. Oh, you can take some people off your list. That's good. And we will finish this chapter tomorrow.
Takes forever to catch up. Aubrey wants you to flash him some coffee.
Australian back. Can you make it there and back?
Go take him some tea. Take Murk some ice cream on the way.
Do that tomorrow when I flash.
He's Batman today. There's no amount of technology.
Wait.
1 John 2:3-6.
I got this.
Fighting the flesh.
Fighting the flesh.
That's good.
That's exactly what we're talking
That's awesome.
about, right?
I got this, Dad. Dad.
Jen.
Dad.
Good. Blake.
Yeah.
Jen.
Dad.
Aubrey says, "Oh, look, it's already here."
Aubrey's got his coffee. Good job, Lakey. 1 John 2:3-6, she said.
1 John 2:3-6. When you live good and clean, you catch all the books.
I got ice in my
Ooh.
sleeve.
Hi, Miss Elliott.
Very nice.
It's great to get on live. As always, miss the live show because of the time difference. I'm in Ireland. You know me. It's Matt. Oh, Madge. Well, hello. I'm glad
That's a
you're here
test
today.
right there. That's like, do you know him? Do you know God? Because by this, we know that we know him. If we keep his commandments. If you say you keep his commandments and the truth's not in you, you're a liar. But whoever keeps his word truly loves God and is perfected by him. And we know that we know him. He who says he abides in him ought himself also to walk just as he walked. That's a great verse.
Ooh,
bet it was a
speaking
good
of that
study.
chapter,
That's a good study.
Hi,
Many-
Jana.
speaking of that chapter, Dad,
Jana, what's up?
many people say on May 30th, God came down and touched me right in the heart.
He did. You were definitely touched by God on May 30th.
Some people say I shook his hand.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to get on live, as I always miss the live show because of the time difference. I'm in Ireland, and it's Madge.
Madge.
Madge? Madge. Okay.
We know her as Madge. She's been in
Oh, okay. Cool. 4 a.m.
Ireland
Woo-hoo-wee.
friends. Was that like 3 people we know
9,
from
10,
Ireland
11,
now?
12, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 7 hours. They're 7 hours ahead. And then Aubrey's 13 hours ahead of us, or 12 hours or something. Or 16, actually. I think it's 16. What's up, Bat Boy?
What's up, Epi Steve Dashane?
Epi
That's your uncle.
That's your uncle, bro.
That's Uncle Epi.
That's Bobby's brother.
Amen, Link. I'm glad you're with us. Amen. Me too. Like cool Batman had a long day. Yep. He wears out pretty easy after his injuries. His brain starts working and he's like, ooh.
It's tired.
Like a light bulb.
That's funny.
I light up, and then I die.
All right. Just for today.
He does. He goes, "Meep, boom, meep, boom."
Yeah, he takes little 5-minute power naps and then he's good. And then he goes.
Dairy
back.
Girls is the best soupy. I bet Madge knows Dairy Girls, like personally. You should send me their autograph.
A growth inventory. We review our past performance and our present behavior to see what we want to keep and what we want to discard. That's in the basic text, page 29. As each day winds to a close, many of us reflect on the past 24 hours and consider how we can live differently in the future. It is easy for our thoughts to remain trapped in the mundane. Change the oil in the car, keep the living room clean, or empty the litter box. Sometimes it takes a special effort to jog our thinking out of the daily rut and onto a higher track. One simple question can put us on the high road. What do we think our higher power wants for us tomorrow? Maybe we need to improve our flagging conscious contact with the God of our understanding. Perhaps we've been uncomfortable in our job or our relationship, holding on only out of fear. We might be hiding some troubling defect of character, afraid to share it with our sponsor. The question is, in what parts of our lives do we really want to grow? As each day ends, we find it is beneficial to take some moments to spend time with our higher power. We can begin to reflect on what will benefit our program of spiritual growth most in the coming day. We think about the areas in which we have grown recently and target areas that still require work. What more fitting way to end the day? So just for today, I will set aside some time at the end of the day to commune with my higher power. I will review the past day, meditating on what stands between me and my higher power's will for my life. Just for today.
Mm,
Amen.
I like it. Madge, hook a sister up so I can meet the Dairy Girls.
Oh, she's 25 minutes from Derry.
Yeah.
Well, we got some flight miles and we're coming out to see you.
Yeah. You could show us around.
You love their accent.
Welcome, Sherry.
Oh. I was gonna read Aubrey's real quick.
Oh, you know, I was anti-God back in the day. My higher power has given me patience, kindness for Bible scriptures. I liked that scripture. Really, because thine own self be true is what I got out of that.
I got a
Took
question.
a lot of courage.
Took a lot of courage to that last comment. Good job, Aubrey.
Love the just.
That's
for
good.
today.
That's awesome, man.
I love that your thing autocorrects to Felipe.
Felipe.
That's what your brother calls me.
Yeah, that's what my brother calls Felice is Felipe.
Night, Raina.
Good night. You want to pray with us? We're about to pray.
Yeah, I'll call you.
Madge, it is 9 p.m. right now. It is Tuesday night, 9 p.m.
You know what? I just had a thought.
Yeah. Nighttime.
What time is it? Oh, I just said that.
Dad, I just had a
Next.
thought. May I say it to the
I
mic?
Thank you,
respond to your
Tracy.
Patreon today. Please let me know if it did go through. Oh, Tracy, thank you very much.
Oh, here, let me post the. I didn't do this one night, and ooh,
May I say something to the
I
mic?
better do it this time.
I honestly do not think the dairy girls are vegan.
Where's my
Dairy.
notes? Private Facebook group. Please join. Get all your information about Discords and all the things and encouragement. You can find people that you relate to and talk to and build
Tracy, you're in
community.
there. I see you. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much.
I love you. Can call me Felipe anytime, Sherry. I like it.
Cool. Thank you, Tracy, very
Tracy.
much.
Good night,
I will
Chad.
get you added to the intro for sure. Good night, Chad. Madge is welcoming us. Murk. All right. Epi, let's see what Epi said. To learn to be led to the best person you can be is to learn no longer to be the sheep, but the shepherd. Oh, very good. I like that.
Felice and Felipe, great twin names. So anybody out there that's got twins coming, there's your names.
Does it have to be a boy or a girl?
Doesn't matter. No, yeah. Well, up to you.
God,
God,
grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Dear God, thank you so much for this time together. Thank you for the live stream and all the chats. Thank you for everybody. And please be with those who are getting ready to go and take amends. Be with those who are working steps 3 and 4 and all the steps that's still suffering addict, the losses that we've suffered and the people that are hurting. Please provide us strength, hope, and love and happiness for the future. And let us be good people. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, y'all. 8 o'clock
Amen.
p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We are here every night. Tomorrow we will finish up this chapter on 8 and 9, and then we will start looking at step 10. I'm looking forward to step 10. Step 10 is going to be a good one. But until then, stay strong, work your program, and remember, we recover better together.